Hello traders, and welcome back to another market update. My name is Nick, and in today's video, as per usual, we're going to take a look at the currency market and look for technical analysis, key points, as well as key zones of support and resistance to consider in your own trading. So let's go ahead and take a look here for starters at Euro USD. You can see price is barreling to the downside here in these early morning hours here. The London session trading this pair lower, as well as continuing seemingly into the New York session as when I am filming now. So what we see here on Euro USD is that recently we've been covering the idea here with this trend line. If we looked left a little bit, you can see we were covering the idea that price was along this nice trend line. Well, now we've cleanly seen that we have sellers that are pushing price breaking below that level, and we're seeing a serious pullback or correction on this Euro USD bullish trend. The question will be, is it really going to be a pullback, or is it actually going to reverse? And of course, we don't know that until we see the chart play out, but we do have some ideas for potential pullbacks that you could be looking for if you like. For example, if we do draw our fib from low to high here, we do have some interesting areas. And the one that sticks out to me the most is the 61.8. And I'll show you this right here. You can see there's the 61.8. And if we look left, we have structure in this market where previous price action respected very, very nicely. So if price can come down to this area, there may be the chance that we see some sort of a bounce, as Euro USD would then be quite oversold, at least in the short term, and lining up with that 61.8 as well as that supportive structure if we look left. Now, does that guarantee that this is going to happen? No, it doesn't. As traders, we are all about probabilities, and the chances of finding a bounce there, in my opinion, are pretty good. We could see a nice little bounce from there, and maybe even get something like a pullback maybe to this structure here, right, that we had recently left. So that will be something to consider there. That's just one idea there that I have on Euro USD. Of course, trade your own setups, but that's just my analysis there on the pair. GBP USD also looking to sell off here, if I could speak. GBP USD 4-hour chart. You can see if we draw this fib from low to high, right? We are currently testing this level here. This previous structure, if we look left, found support here, found support multiple times before bouncing off. We are currently back in that area testing to see if we can move lower. If we do move lower, I've mentioned a couple times here in the market updates that the 61.8 is another level that I'm interested in on GBP USD, and I'll back up to show you guys why. You can take a look here, and if we just put that there, you can see that previously we have a significant level in this market that lines up very nicely with that 61.8. Pretty much the same idea as that Euro USD move, right? So if we're looking here at GBP USD, if we look left, we have that previous level of resistance, which could turn support. That lines up nicely with this area as well. So just a price action zone. If price decides to pull back further on GBP USD, that would potentially could be a level I would be looking in to either take profits if you're a seller or to look for potential buys if you're a buyer. Let's move on there to USD JPY, which has moved higher over the London session as well as this early New York session. You can see price is really testing this zone here, right? So this level of resistance looks like price may want to be breaking it soon. So if price can break higher on this USD yen pair on the daily chart, we could be seeing what's starting to be a longer term trend to the upside, right? So we have this trend line here that we've been covering for a little bit. And this may be the start of a bigger trend to the upside if price can break through these major levels of resistance. So let's see what we get on USD yen. I'm sure we'll be following up with that pretty soon. Brent crude is going to be important also because we do have this trend to the upside, and we did see that pullback that we talked about on the previous market update. Talked about the fact that we were channeling back and forth, and that there's a pretty good chance that we see some sort of pullback after this major test along the top of this channel. We're seeing that now, and now as price pulls back, we could see price find another bounce if we are going to favor continuing this channel here, right? So historically we've seen price rising and pushing up, and as price comes down to this level once more, we could see another bounce. So let's take a look here at WTI crude, which is going to look almost identical right now. You can see that they are very similar. We have that same channel pattern, so I won't say the same stuff happened here because it kind of did, right? So we had basically the resistance hold along the top multiple times, price fell. Let's take a look at gold really quick. I know everybody wants to talk about gold. Gold did something really interesting yesterday. gold broke out of this range that we've been talking about for quite some time. Let's take a look here. You can see this level of support and this level of resistance were back and forth in this market very, very nicely, right? Supply and demand just playing back and forth. Well, yesterday we had a strong sell-off on gold, breaking through the lows and kind of nullifying this concept. So if you've heard me talk about ranging markets before, what I like to talk about is the fact that I like to simply look for sells along the top and buys along the bottom until it breaks. And once it breaks, right, that's where you have to change your strategy a little bit. You can see price did break through right here. It nullified what we were doing there. And so from going forward, looks like we have some momentum to the downside and we could see continuation. But we are, if we look left a little bit here, you can see this zone here is currently being tested by gold. We will see if price can break through today or if we're going to catch a bounce towards the end of the week here. I would say that there's a pretty good chance that we could get some sort of a pullback here along the way. But if gold really gets going, we'll see that level break right through. My opinion, though, is that we could see a pretty good chance for a short-term bounce on gold as things are looking a bit stretched to the downside there in the short term. Dollar Canadian is our next one, which looks like it wants to break out. You can see if we take a look at this level here, we're looking currently at the 4-hour chart on the Dollar Canadian. This level looks like it wants to break out. If price can break through that level, we could see continuation. There's really not too much else that I have to say on Dollar Canadian because that to me looks like a pretty interesting setup. And if you wanted to, you could draw this trend line as well. We kind of have this concept where price is wedging back and forth, and really it's decision time for Dollar Canadian. My bias would be we could see a break to the upside. However, if we are being open-minded, for being adaptive, and we see a breakthrough, we could see a break, retest, and continuation to the downside as well. My opinion, though, is that we could see a nice little up move on Dollar CAD. Let's take a look at Aussie dollar, which is going to be our last one today. I picked this one for a good reason. You can see it's cleanly channeling pretty nicely here, but there's a couple different ways that we could draw this trend line, right? So we have a couple different trend lines that are in play, and it looks to be that we broke through this level here, right? Now we actually got a retest of that zone, confirmed that sellers were in control, and see price pushing down. The question will be, can we get some sort of continuation down to this longer term trend line where we could find a longer term bounce? That's kind of just what I'm looking at here on Aussie dollar. However, we need to take into account that if we take a look at the weekly, just really quick, look at this downtrend, how clean it is on Aussie dollar, right? So price is at a higher time frame downtrend point. And that will be interesting to see because there's probably a pretty good chance that we actually could see price pull back to that trend line, find some sort of short-term bounce, but then continue lower to favor this long-term weekly channel. This is why it's important to take a look at multiple time frames. Guys, thank you so much for watching another market update. I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.